Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Adelina and I make videos about living in this tiny house on wheels and living a more intentional life. I get a lot of questions about Sophie, about having a pet in a tiny house and sort of how that all works. I also get a lot of comments about Sophie, her weight, her litter box, that sort of stuff. So I thought today we would just do a My Big Tiny House Cat episode of the My Big Tiny House channel. So I am going to talk all about the things that I've done in the house to make it easier to have a cat, a pet. So I just wanted to have a chat about that and give you sort of my thoughts and show you some of the things that I've done in the tiny house to accommodate having a pet. Good morning. Hi. I know. I want to lay here all morning too. But it's time to get up. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Get up. Okay. You hungry? Okay. Come on. Get something to eat. Sophie. I know. It's breakfast. There's the empty bowl from your wet food from last night. And your water. Originally, I know that my builder was thinking that Sophie could get through this opening. Now, what I did was I made sure that there was an opening into the loft from the bedroom closet, which is behind this wall. And so we cut this opening. Let me show you. So I wanted to make sure that there was an opening, and I had always thought that what I would do was, I can't really see. I always thought that what I would do was look for a picture that would fit this hole. And so this doorway here, they framed in, and it goes right through, and then my closet door is obviously on that side. And so originally that was sort of the plan, but that would mean I would have to leave my closet door open. And if you have a cat, you know they love to lay in your clothes in your closet, and I did not want that. So I leave my closet door closed. In fact, I have a little piece of wood that kind of latches it closed because she's really good at figuring things out. And she figured out that she could pull that sucker open where the bifold is and get in there. And I didn't want to have her fur on my clothes. I get enough of Sophie's fur on my clothes. So I ended up putting this little latch right here. It's just a hook and eye, because I had originally just had a Velcro closure, and she's very smart again, and she figured out that she could just get her paw in here and pull that open, and I caught her making a nest in my clothes yet again. So this was not going to work to get her in and out of the loft, and she really likes being up in the loft. It's kind of her sanctuary. She comes up here when she's stressed out, if there's too many people in the house. And she just likes to lay up here. Sometimes she just likes to lay on the edge and look down and be the queen of her domain. Totally get it. Cats are like that. So That's why I did this, and we ended up, or I ended up figuring that out and cutting that hole. This is not a very good angle. So one of the accommodations I made for having Sophie in the tiny house, I got to admit that when we were designing the house, I didn't really think about how she was going to get up here. She's too, even if she could climb the ladder, there's no way she could get back down. And so therefore it meant that I needed to figure out some way to have her in the, get her into the loft. So my solution was to cut a hole in this wall. Now, this is the bedroom. You can see my bed there, and obviously this is the wall of the loft. And there is this tongue and groove siding on both sides, and then just a wood frame, or the framing of the tiny house. So what I did in order to make this happen, because I did this myself, was I went to the thrift store and I found two paintings or two pictures that had the same frame and that were the size that I wanted, that I thought would be perfect for having the cat pass through. And then what I did was I took the pictures out of the frames and I painted both frames the same color as the wall. And then I drew out my square and I cut it with a jigsaw. And then I hot glued these frames on here. And it has worked wonderfully. It gives her a place to come through that is easy. And it also actually, one of the added bonuses is it actually lets extra air through, because the window that's right here opens, and I leave this window open most of the summer. And so because it's up high, I can leave it open all the time. And it allows extra air circulation from the loft area into the bedroom and vice versa. So that's kind of a bonus as well. But this is really handy. And one of the things that I really love that I did in the tiny house. And if you look right through, you can see her bed there. She's got a little bed, and I'm going to take you around the other side so you can see it as well. So let me show you the opening to the loft from the other side and her little bed. Sophie, are you going to model this for us? You going to model this for us? Okay. So this is just a regular seat cushion, and this covering is a faux sheepskin from IKEA. And she loves laying there. And again, that's the opening to the other side. You can see the window. Again, when I have the air conditioner on, which is up in the loft, the one that I bought last summer during the heat wave, it's nice because I can point it this direction at night and have some of that cool air come through there, which is really awesome. So just as a reminder, Sophie is 14 years old. Her birthday was in November, and yeah, I was digging through the paperwork that I keep in a bin, and I found her adoption papers, and she is 14 years old. So she's an old girl, and yes, she's a little plump, and yes, she's very spoiled. My old cat, my last cat, was 19 and a half when he passed. He was a Devon Rex, a purebred. I didn't buy him, my sister bought him, and then I inherited him. But he was an awesome cat, and the kids really loved him, and if you've ever seen a Devon Rex, you know how adorable they are. But then, after he passed away, like so many people who have pets that have passed away, and it breaks your heart, I told myself I wasn't going to get another cat, I wasn't going to get another animal. I couldn't deal with the pain of losing them. It was just so weird to come home and not have a furry little critter running around. So we adopted Sophie. She's a rescue, and she's been the best ever. Sophie is very spoiled. She gets lots of cuddles, lots of loving. I only feed her twice a day. For those of you who think she's very plump, I totally agree with you, but it's not that she has food at her disposal at all times. I give her dry food in the morning with fresh water throughout the day. And then at nighttime, I give her a tablespoon of pure pumpkin mixed with a little bit of wet cat food and a tiny bit of dry just to tide her over the night, and some fresh water again. So that's how much she eats. So she's just a big girl. I mean, she's big boned. What can I say? Right, kitty? She just is like that. So for those of you thinking or commenting on her girth, yes, I know she's large, but the vet says she's healthy, and I do think that the pure pumpkin really makes a difference for her health. Pumpkin, if you don't know, is safe for cats, the same as sweet potato. I made sure to do a lot of research when I read about this, and talk to my vet. And it really helps with their digestion, and it helps with their coat and their shedding. So she tends to shed quite a bit. That's just the fur type she has. Not so much in the winter, but in the summertime, oh my gosh, does she shed. I know spring is here when I start to see the great big balls of fur all over my floor. That's her eating schedule. I will show it. I'll show you tonight what I feed her before bed so that you can see just how much she eats. She doesn't overeat. And I never give her human food other than the pumpkin, and it's, like I said, it's pure pumpkin, not got anything else in there other than pumpkin. But obviously, do your own research and talk to your own vet. So I'm going to show you now her litter box situation, explain why I have it this way, and just give you a shot of the bag of the litter that I use, because I did try multiple litters out. Okay, so here is her litter situation. Now, I used to have this turned the other direction, so it faced underneath the desk. But what happened was I couldn't have as much of this mat hanging out. And this is just one of those mats that you buy that's got perforations in it. And this is a shoe tray for wet shoes. And I cut the mat down to size to fit. And I always put a little paper towel under there in case she dribbles. It's easy to sop it up and wash it off. So even though it's tucked behind this wheel well, she can get in and out really easily. And it allows me to have more of this mat out in front of her, which catches more of the litter, because she does kick up a little bit when she gets up, when she gets out of there. Every morning I roll it and then to get the clumps loose, and then I scoop it. And I scoop it into this canister that's got a bag in it. And then when the bag is full, because this is airtight, when the bag is full, then I throw the bag out, obviously. And I try and buy the compostable bags, because you can compost cat litter in Calgary. So I'll scoop it first thing in the morning, and then throughout the day, if she does her business, especially if it's a stinky one, then, that's right, stinky one, then I will do a quick scoop as well. It's super easy because it's right here beside my desk, and it doesn't take up, there's plenty of room under my desk for my feet. I get a lot of questions about Sophie's litter. Now, I personally, this is just personal preference, I don't like using clay litter because I have heard, and I believe, that the dust from them digging around in it gets into their lungs. And for me, that seemed kind of not good. So just a personal preference, I started looking for a more natural litter that wouldn't have that dust problem. So I tried corn cob. I liked the fact that, now I got fur, now I got cat hair on my face. I liked the fact that it was natural, and they were using a byproduct, so it was sustainable. Because it was the corn cobs after the corn was cut off for, or pulled off for food. So that was great, but the problem with the corn cob litter, at least the brands that I tried, and I tried a couple of brands, it didn't clump very well. So when you were scooping it, the clumps would break apart, which defeated the purpose of having clumping litter. Sorry, pardon me. Oh, Sophie. And it also didn't mask the smell very well. Obviously, in a small house, I wanted to make sure that whatever litter I was using was good at absorbing odors. So that is why I decided to go with the walnut shells. And so this is the brand that I use. Naturally Fresh walnut shell cat litter. It's all natural, and it is awesome. I'm sure there are other brands of walnut shell litter out but this is the one that I use. There's a little bit of dust, but not much, so a lot less dust than with the clay litters. The odor control is amazing. You would think that it's just walnut shells, that it wouldn't have the ability to mask the odors when she does her business, but it actually is really good at absorbing the odor. It really clumps well, which is a necessity when you are scooping the litter. You want the clumps to stay together as you're scooping them. It really controls the odors, and I feel good about it being biodegradable. For me, this works well because, again, I'm sitting here working during the day and the litter box is right underneath, and this is a very small house, so whenever there is a stinky deposit you can smell it. Now again, I scoop throughout the day if she does her business, just because, you know, I'm here, it's super easy to do, and I find I just want it to be nice for her. But she never goes outside of her litter box. She's really good about that. The only time she's peed outside her litter box is when she's been super stressed out. That's one of the only times she's ever done that. She's very fastidious and very clean, and she likes to use her litter box. She likes that it's covered. I have a covered one on purpose because she likes that. She likes being enclosed, and it's tucked away. Now, I get another comment quite often. Oh, sorry, Soph. I get another comment quite often about the fact that her litter box is close to her food dish. And yeah, that's true. But the fact is, in a tiny house, there's only so many places you could put a litter box. I did not want to put it in the living room because then whenever somebody comes over, they're looking at her litter box. And she doesn't have privacy, and I think, you know, she should have some privacy when she's doing her business. And I've had people suggest that I should have the litter box up in the loft. That would be totally impractical because I would have to be pulling that ladder out multiple times a day to go up there and scoop. No. And this way it's super easy to vacuum, it's super easy to clean her litter. There's no way I would put it up in the loft. That I can't think of a more impractical place to put this litter box. So no, she doesn't mind. Again, that's very clean usually, unless she's just gone, and there's no odor, rarely, again, unless she's just gone particularly stinky, and she doesn't mind. If she minded, then I would have to find another solution. That used to face the other direction, so I wondered with turning it around so that the opening was here, if that would bother her. Not at all. I intended for the litter box to be in the bathroom. Let me show you where I was going to put it. I had intended for the litter box to go in the bathroom. This space right here is where the hot water tank is. When I first moved into the tiny house, or when I first planned on moving into the tiny house, we were going to have a on-demand tankless hot water heater that was going to run on propane. And then I was informed when I found this parking spot that I was not allowed to have propane appliances inside my unit. So it had to be either natural gas or electricity. I couldn't find a tankless electric hot water heater that would work on the amperage of the house. So I ended up with a 60-gallon hot water tank, which is underneath here. So that space is now used up for that. I don't know if I can get this out. I can't open that. It's on very strong magnets. If I really try, I can get this open. But if I were to open this up, you would see the hot water tank right here, and obviously the plumbing for the sink and the washer dryer combo unit is over there. It was gonna be so adorable. My plan was gonna be so great. It was gonna be a little circle with little cat ears. And then this was going to be where her litter box was, and it was going to be on little sliders, so I could just slide it out, clean it, slide it back in. She would have her privacy. It would be tucked away. It would be not in the public area of the house. I couldn't do that because I ended up needing that space for the hot water tank, which was great that I had the space for the hot water tank. I can't imagine what I would have done if I hadn't had that space. So I had to use this up. It meant that the cat litter box had to go out there, but it's all worked out really well. So for me, no problem. For Sophie, no problem, and really that's all that matters. What's going to happen when I get a dog? Obviously, a dog is going to need more space than a cat, especially a big dog, and I do want a bigger dog. So dogs need kennels, and where would I put that? I already know exactly where I'm going to put it. The dog kennel will go right here. There's lots of room here for a dog kennel. I only ever have one stool here at a time anyways, so there's lots of room, and I think that that's perfect. And if you have a smaller dog, then you need even less room, but there's lots of room here for that. There's lots of room beside the bed for a dog bed if they want to lay there, sleep. Probably going to sleep on my bed. That's just how I am. But yeah, there's lots of room here for an animal of any size, I think. I mean, maybe not a Great Dane, but you know what? If that's what you want, then that's what you have. So here's my thoughts on having a pet in a tiny house. If you're designing your tiny house and you have a pet or you plan on having a pet, just make sure you're working that into the design of your tiny house. The access to a loft is really important, whether that be for a dog or a cat. There was no way for her to get into the loft from the living room side. Some cats can climb a ladder and get even down a ladder, especially one that's sloped like mine is. However, she's a senior cat, and I would not have felt comfortable if that was how she was getting up and down there. So there had to be another way of getting her up there. You could put little stairs if you wanted, but the system that I have works out perfectly because that wall is there anyways between the two spaces. She can easily jump up on that cupboard that's beside my desk where her bed is, and then from there she just walks through. When she gets too old to easily jump up onto that cupboard, I'll put a little step there for her to get up and down because she really likes laying in that spot. It's a real cozy spot for her. When she lays up there, sometimes she looks down through the crack where the cupboard is to see me working. I think she just finds it comforting. There's a heat vent right on the floor beside my desk, so the heat rises there. It's nice and toasty warm for her. And a dog could easily get up there. That could easily be a space for a dog bed as well. Though I think cats like to jump up and get up high, and that's why getting up into the loft is so important, and for you to figure out a way to make that happen. I've seen, like Tiny Dreamer has little catwalks, literal catwalks above her cupboards and up high in her house that the cats can get from one loft to the other. That's super cool. Like, you really just have to build your house with your pet in mind, just like you would build your house with the people who lived in it in mind. All I'm saying is you can easily find a space for a pet in a tiny house. So that's how I accommodate Sophie, because she is definitely a priority for me. I want to make sure that she has as many cozy little nooks to hang out in and sleep in as possible, because she sleeps probably 20 out of every 24 hours a day. At least that's what it seems like. And as she gets older, she sleeps more, and that's perfectly natural as well. Because especially during the last couple of years, and especially because I live alone, having her here has really been so valuable for my mental health. I don't know what I would have done without her. I love her to bits. Hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you next Sunday. You know that's my chair, right?